Thanks for joining me for another episode of Pitch with Peter. Today, we're going to meet with Jeremy, the CEO and founder of RAD Intelligence. Jeremy and his team have built a really interesting software that helps companies better engage with their customers in a more authentic, more emotionally driven way. Let's dive into the pitch and learn more.
We are a artificial intelligence for enterprise companies that helps them communicate more authentically with their desired customers. So essentially, it is a marketing AI that maps to a channel, any channel. It can be blogs, it can be email sequencing, it can be paid advertising, organic social. And the AI is able to map the desired content structure on those channels to deliver the best possible result. And we've been able to identify these hidden connections in the data that map real authenticity to better ROI. So on the one hand, it's content authenticity, and then on the other hand, it's better ROI with respect to what the client or brand deems as ROI. Sometimes that's brand specific, or sometimes that's conversion specific.
How do you work with content creators? Is it something that the brand brings to the relationship? They say, hey, we've got this user-generated content, help us get this to the right potential customers? Or are you connecting them with content creators or user-generated content that you found that's related to their brand?
So the way we think about creator activations is we have very, very specific expertise on that side of the business, which most brands find very valuable. So brand will come to us with some sort of a campaign, creative strategy, some ideas about things that they want to do. And that is very much a typical request for proposal. And then we will handle the activation from soup to nuts. And we have a pre-game process that is supported by a services layer that our team handles at the customer success level. And then we run the activation. And then our AI creates the different models that are associated with where and how the content is going to be distributed once the content is created. So there's a couple different things going on there. And initially there was a full self-serve environment, and there's so many different breakdowns when you're talking about enterprise clients and what they want and require, that we had to get comfortable with the services part of our offering. And it's become a part of who we are with respect to different methodologies and the way we think about it. But the key underpin here is what we do that's special is not on the services side of the business. What we do that's special is the insights that we're able to provide going into a campaign. And that could either be validating existing thinking or providing contrarian thinking to an existing creative strategy your brand is giving us. That's number one. And then number two is a very clear direction on what to do with the content and why, once the content is created, with that underpin of performance visualization that shows the other stakeholders that have signed off on you as the vendor that, hey, this is working because it's producing the things that are important to us.
So a brand will come to you and say, hey, we would like to work with you to provide more kind of authentic ads and to the right people at the right time in the right way. Here's our idea of the type of content that we think would be successful and resonate with our brand and customers. You guys look at that, you use your data and expertise to either confirm or create kind of give them feedback and say, yes, but let's tweak it or let's go a different direction. And then on the services side, you're helping them actually identify the content creators that will create that content. And then you're pushing it through your system to take that content and create and connect it to the right potential customers.
Our value is the ML models that are able to take that cleaned data and be able to help make decisions that are essentially removing biases associated with what and how you go about doing things. And I think that's really where we were able to figure out, like, as a collective unit, it's not necessarily about us having 55 partnerships with different APIs or different API vendors. It's about us having the ML models that we can plug into those clean data environments that enable us to make better decisions.
I'm wondering, can you maybe take one of your current customers that you can talk about and maybe walk us through their customer journey, if that makes sense? Like, what was the pain point they were filling, and how did you guys solve that pain point for them?
I think it's a really important question, Peter. And initially what we thought was our customer would be the CMO of a business or a senior VP of marketing. And we do often come in through that road. But what we found is it's actually the head of data science or some sort of a senior VP on the analytics side of the business,
Interesting.
the head of innovation, or the chief digital officer. And that's a really interesting finding that we literally just figured out less than 60 days ago. And we figured that out because of a really big opportunity that we're flushing out with a Fortune 100 company. And we realized by going to this company that they have an innovation arm that's dedicated to testing new vendors. And we also figured out when we are deliberate about getting people that are either on the data science team on the phone, or people that understand content-based marketing, content-based artificial intelligence as it relates to marketing, when we bring those people in from the organization onto the decision-making process, that it's the basis of a really, really good, healthy relationship. So we've just realized these things, and we've been beating down the doors in the marketing department. And we realized, like, when we get more sophistication on the data and analytics side of the business on the call, it solves all of those problems. Are these guys real? Is it a buzzword? What are they doing that's different? How can that impact different parts of our business? So the way we think about it is a client will come to us with a very specific channel and thing that they want to do. Most of the time it's influencer marketing, but on two of our larger deals, they didn't care about influencer marketing or creator-based marketing. They just cared about the intelligence side of the business, right? In other words, what are we doing right? Validate campaigns for us. What are we doing wrong? What should we be doing with this content? And how do I know that the information or the models that you have are reliable, right? So, and to be perfectly fair, we're playing with both of those models right now with respect to client billing, and we're still sort of figuring out like how we're going to do both. When I say figure it out, meaning we have active pilots that we're testing on both sides. We have pilots that are campaigns that are moving from pilot to 1 year plus. And then we have pilots that are just on the intelligence side of the business, where we're doing like a more traditional, like we're billing you per AI model for a specific function in the business, right? So that's how a customer will come to us. The way that looks from a very rudimentary perspective is we would ingest your source of truth. So it can be a custom analytics solution. It could be Adobe Analytics. It could be Google Analytics. For the purposes of this is Google Analytics. And we ingest our technology and platform is going to mirror the setup of your analytics in our environment. So it's going to basically set it up in a way that's consistent with the way you're looking at different things. And then you have the optionality over here to tell the AI or train the AI what you want the AI to accomplish and do. So I could click on total conversions. I can click on signups. And then I can go all the way down the list here, and I won't go through the entire process, but the first leg of the process is telling the artificial intelligence what you're trying to accomplish. And then if I go into here, for the purpose of this demonstration, we're going to look at creating better performing blogs or better performing email sequences. And I can just, and everything is categorized in here. So when we go through the process of setting up the client, we've categorized everything. And then what the artificial intelligence does is it breaks everything down into persona buckets. And the persona buckets are consistent with the way the brand is recognizing their personas. And the idea is all of the content is ingested. Our AI understands what's moving the needle, what's not moving the needle within the framework of all of these different blogs that would fall into this entertainment bucket. And we do a nonlinear regression analysis on the title and a nonlinear regression analysis on the body of the content. And what this is basically telling us is breaking down all of the different measures in the title in this context that have a direct relationship to the conversion objective or to the optimization objective. And it's also doing the same thing right here with the body of the content. So you can see here, if I clicked into the character count, what it's going to tell me here is between 1 to 50 characters is the optimal character count that you should be using for this specific persona. And the idea is it's broken down in buckets across all of it. So there's 106 companies that we analyzed, and only 23, excuse me, there's 106 articles that we analyzed, and only 23 of the 106 articles are using the optimal recommendation from a 1 to 50 characters, which tells you like maybe these longer character counts over here are inherently, maybe the title's disjointed or whatever. So the idea is before you start recreating content or before AI recreates content for you with just for this blog channel, the idea is knowing as a content creator the best framework for how your blog should be created to achieve the best possible results.
How your AI works from a high level, and how you're able to get your customers comfort that it's real and not just a buzzword.
A lot of times we'll get a marketer on the phone who's like, well, I would never have an AI write my marketing content, or I wouldn't trust an artificial intelligence to help me make a decision or make a decision for me on what we should or shouldn't do. And the most important thing with respect to the way we structure the value that we provide is it's here to be helpful. So when you have harder decisions, or you have something that is potentially an opportunity for a biased opinion to get filtered in there and what you should or shouldn't do, it helps remove those biases. And it helps give you data in a way that you can use it to make better decisions. So we are providing that environment through different AI models based off of the channel you're looking to activate on that help you remove those biases, number one. And then number two is, in the content creation space, there's usually a disconnect with the content's created, you get the performance of the content, you look at it, it's great, you figure out a report, and that's it. But what next? Where else can we use the content? Why was the content impactful? Well, awesome, we got 5 million impressions. What the hell does that mean if I'm talking to my CFO, right?
Yep.
So the idea is creating some sort of connectivity with marketing that is not just like the activation here, but it's sort of like taking the entire ecosystem into consideration. And that's a very big thing to say, but that's the way we think about it. The thing that's really unique to us is you have two different things that are working in our algorithms simultaneously. There's a predictive element of what it could be, and then there's an adversarial element telling you what it can't be. And the adversarial element of telling you what it can't be is essentially our edge. What makes our models and efficacy of our models, in our opinion, the best on the market, right? The models are not just built to be like, hey, it should be this, this, and this, and this. Oftentimes, for example, when you look at just other AIs that are out there, like a Bird or Roberta, there's problems differentiating between king and queen, for example, or there's inherent issues with mapping the right set of communication towards a specific micro community.
Love to hear kind of how much you're raising, where do those proceeds go, and then what are the milestones you're hoping to achieve that you think will help you land that next round of funding to take the company to the next level?
Yeah, I think that we are in no man's land for fundraising right now, which is so I'm super grateful that we are in the middle of this crowdfunding campaign for that reason. We're sort of like in that in between seed round to Series A company, I would say. And that mixed with a recession, mixed with some uncertainty, with all the different things that are a part of the daily map. So for us, the crowdfunding campaign has been a real blessing, and it's not easy, but it's certainly been an avenue that we've been successful with. Right now, between on-off platform, we've raised 1.9 million. We're going to raise up to 4 on that. Anything above and beyond over 4, we'll get board approval for. Initially, we were going to raise just over 2.5 to 3. And we recently decided that we would take more just to make sure that we really, really were stable and we didn't have to worry about lights getting turned off as we go into a Series A. And I think we're well on our way to hitting those numbers. And if we just continue doing what we're doing on that raise, we'll hit those numbers. And a marketing technology company that's got artificial intelligence doing a WeFunder doesn't fit, but we're doing it successfully. So there's these falsehoods that are out there. So we are big believers in using the crowd the right way. And it's not like you do it and, we've got audited books all the way through 21, and it's not like an easy thing. It's, there's a very deliberate process there, but I would say that it's a very good thing for early stage companies.
No, I'm a huge fan of equity crowdfunding, and I think there's a ton of opportunities that exist out there that, kind of like to your point, right? Marketing automation with AI, that most retail consumers don't get access to, right? And I think you guys have clearly done a great job of kind of explaining what it is you do and your value add, and convincing investors that you've got something special. So really wish you the best as you wrap up your campaign. Thanks so much for taking the time to chat with me today. This has been a super fun conversation. Yeah.
What did you think of that? I thought Jeremy does a great job of explaining the product, what they're working on, and really exuding a lot of passion for the business. Here's the things that I really like. I like that they are an enterprise software play. I think enterprise software is a really great business model. You get really high margins, and if you really focus on the enterprise like they have, you get really good contracts. Contracts, hopefully, that don't churn, that last a long time, that pay a lot of money per contract. And I love the fact that he's working with some of the biggest companies out there like Accenture and Condé Nast. And being able to prove value for those customers, I think is like super valuable. I also love that he's achieved kind of that $2 million plus run rate. That's usually right at that place where you're starting to see real true product market fit. My only concern there is that he's only has a handful of enterprise customers, and so it's hard to know if he's really figured out that sales motion to land more. And the other thing, and this is just a challenge with enterprise software and a risk that you have to be comfortable if you want to invest in this company, is that enterprise software, while it can be a great customer, it takes typically a very long time to land those customers. It's a little bit tricky to find the right buyer, and it just takes a lot of approval processes. You have to have confidence that Jeremy and his team can close those contracts with the capital that they have raised. Anyways, tell me what you think below in the comments. And of course, just like all of the pitches with Peter, you can invest directly through wefunder.com/rad. Links down in the description. If you enjoyed this React video, check out my other React videos, such as my Cut Bob's pitch on Shark Tank.